During my many years on this spinning blue, throbbing banner of a planet that we call home, I have received a lot of pieces of advice. Some have come and went, some have stuck with me, some I've tried to forget, but they're way back in the recesses of my mind trying to push forward like, we want you to remember. And there's one that came to mind. It's from The Simpsons. Homer, you're as dumb as a mule and twice as ugly. If a strange man offers you a ride, I say take it. Lousy traumatic childhood. But in all seriousness, two pieces of advice have stuck in my head and will stick in my head until the day I die. Never trust a computer you can't throw out a window, and never trust a movie that relies solely on nostalgia, using it like a crutch, like it's Tiny Tim in the worst production of A Christmas Carol you've ever seen in your motherfucking goddamn lives. Y2K is the latest offering from A24, and I'm just going to say, how fucking dare you, A24? How very dare you put your goddamn near-perfect reputation on the line for this? For this? I know some of their movies have not been commercially successful. They're trying to branch out and do more conventional stuff and have more fun and have more variety, and that's fine. Some of their movies have been successful, but they just had Heretic come out, and Heretic was pretty goddamn good. Wasn't exactly perfect, but had great performances, had all the earmarks of a great A24 production, but the people that brought us Saint Maud, they brought us X, they brought us Pearl, they brought us Maxine, Hereditary, Midsummer, Beau is Afraid, which some people didn't necessarily like, but they brought us so many great goddamn movies. Talk to Me, one of my favorite horror movies of the goddamn decade. And now this. How very dare you, A24? And how very dare you, Kyle Mooney? And Evan Winter. By the way, Kyle Mooney also, besides writing and directing this, also played Garrett. The guy that had dreads and I guess was trying to emulate a very weed-heavy, influenced edition of, Jonathan Davies from Korn, as opposed to Jonathan Davies from Accounting. Evan Winter, I don't know what he did. I don't really fucking care if anybody from this production watches this and gets upset, because I didn't expect much from this, and I was nearly 19 years old when the Y2K phenomenon happened, because this takes place on December 31st, 1999, the end of that glorious year where Prince wanted us to party, and don't you want to go to 1999? I feel like I want to go back to 1999 and stop any of the, bits of nostalgia that this movie tried to use and prostituted and basically just rammed up against the goddamn wall and then hacked to pieces and then just took the pieces and mixed them with bullshit and said, here, remember this, we're going to slap you in the face with all this. I'd rather be slapped in the face with a bunch of bullshit because it would stink a whole lot less than Y2K. Yeah, I pretty much fucking hated this movie. And the sad thing, a pretty good cast. You have Jaden Martell, who was Bill in It. He was also in Knives Out. Rachel Zegler, who is terrific. She's a bright young actress. I'm not so sure about the upcoming Snow White movie. You have Julian Dennison, who plays the best friend Danny. Oh, hi, Danny. You have Eli and Danny. And you also have Laura, and those are the main three characters. You do have Lachlan Watson, who was in The Unheard, and I think she could be good. Unfortunately, The Unheard wasn't all that great, but I thought she did fine. But yeah, Kyle Mooney plays a guy named Garrett, who owns a video store. Yes, kids, back a while ago, we used to actually go to things like Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, and rent VHSs. I actually used to go to one called SNS Video, which in hindsight really isn't the best name to say right now, but nevertheless, there were no guards out there. Moving on, Fred Durst is also in this, and Alicia Silverstone, what's left of her, is in this. Okay, so basically, yes, you have Eli, played by Jaden, and you have Danny, played by Julian, and they are two friends. They want to get laid on the eve of the closeout, or basically the closeout of the millennium. Okay. And then there's also this running gag with Danny and a condom that factors in a little bit later on. And let's just talk about some of the songs that are featured in this before I get into the spoiler section. Praise You by Fatboy Slim. Candy by Mandy Moore. I'll Be by Edwin McCain. Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba. Freak on a Leash by Korn. You have Flag, but yeah, by the way, that's where I got that sweet shirt from, I believe, City Fox Printing. I don't know if you can find them on Twitter, but you can probably find them on Google. But anyway, flagpole sitter by Harvey Danger, and I thought it was bad when they included that in disturbing behavior. No, this is a whole lot fucking worse. You have Six Underground by the Sneaker Pimps, and then you have Break Stuff by Fred Durst. There are other songs in here, like the Thong Song by Cisco. Look, I don't expect much from movies I don't have high expectations for. I saw the trailer and was like, boy, A24 attached their name to this. You know what? Maybe it might be okay. Reviews were not good. Not good at all. And I'm not even talking from critics. Like, reviews from audience members have been middling. They've just varied. I didn't expect much from this, and I was totally let down. Because any attempts at nostalgia are like, remember this, remember this, remember this, please remember this. We don't have any other material to offer you. We don't have anything good as far as special effects, or dialogue, or acting, or story, or anything. If this is the concept that got greenlit, what did they have to fine-tune to get it made? God, I'd hate to have seen the first draft. Lazy characters, lazy scenes, just totally lazy violence, too. For all the purported, like, oh, we're going to have, some over-the-top gore, there's a little, but most of the violence happens off-screen. Like, the violence starts to kick in almost 30 minutes in. This movie is 94 minutes with credits, and maybe 85 minutes of that is actual film, and this feels like it takes a while to finish up. And it also features such a nonsensical, stupid ending where it's like, okay, it would be fine if these laughs were earned, but they're not, and none of the dialogue is funny. There are like a couple moments where you could chuckle at the fact, oh yeah, I remember that, but none of it's funny. None of it's funny at all. It's just fucking, god damn it, this is so fucking stupid. Just an abomination, especially from A24. I expect better from A24. How fucking very dare you, A24? 3, 2, 1, spoilers. So basically, we see an AOL online chat room, interface, stuff like that. They capture that motif well, the dial-up noise. And Eli is talking to Laura. Laura had a recent breakup. He sees her as his dream girl. And then there's a scene where alcohol gets stolen, and then they go to the party. And Danny is telling him, hey, we're going to get laid. Just remember this. He would say something about the condom that it was supposed to be a funny line, but it wasn't. It wasn't at all. And then a little bit in, after interactions and shit doesn't go all that well, and there's a group that Lachlan Watson is part of that does some rapping, smokes weed, and also quotes Fred Durst. The technology basically goes tits up. All these items that are in the goddamn households just amalgamate together, computer monitors, whatever. And this has basically been something that has been set up by this technology in this program that kind of looks like a discount Lawnmower Man, which is saying something because I hated the first Lawnmower Man. Lawnmower Man 2 Beyond Cyberspace was somehow worse and somehow looked worse special effects-wise, despite the fact it came out a number of years later. Anyway, so yeah, we get all these wires and all these computer monitors and all this stuff, and these other things that get set up. This one guy gets his face set, or his head set on fire. Hey, jackass, I use gel, but he uses hairspray. This Barbie Malibu Jeep, just shows up and does this. And this is after, by the way, we see, somebody that was killed off screen that had part of a fan embedded in them. And then some lady gets knocked out by a VHS tape that had stuff scratched out and had Varsity Blues on it, which is something I need to retro review something. Let me know if you want to see that. But that happens. Meanwhile, our main characters escape, except Danny. Danny ends up getting stabbed and killed 35 to 40 minutes in. So I'm like, okay, that friendship isn't even going to goddamn last. And yeah, they had an argument before, but they still were friends. But then Garrett, by the way, after one video store scene, totally out of the picture. He shows up a little bit later on, but before that, these idiots band together. One guy, one of the long hair guys who was quoting Fred Durst, tries to do a skateboard thing up this broken down basketball hoop and ends up cracking his head on the goddamn floor, which I guess was supposed to be funny, but wasn't. And then as they're trying to escape technology, these technological amalgamation, computer, whatever things that look terrible, they end up in an outhouse and end up going down a hill in an outhouse. And it looked like we were about to get some nookie. So you'll take that cookie and stick it up or you know what, between Laura and Eli. Then they end up at this stronghold, this like place with no technology, where Garrett is running things. But then Garrett, a little bit later, gets his arm cut off and he's all high, but then he gets decapitated by this weird robot thing that has a computer monitor and whatever. And the reason all this stuff's happening is there's this technological demon program thing called the Singularity, and it's a movement to basically take humans to the goddamn high school, implant them, and make them slaves, since they're already basically we're already basically slaves to technology. It's like the faculty, if the faculty was made by a sea cucumber. And I actually think that's insulting, because I think a sea cucumber would know they're not fucking qualified to make this, just like some people should know they're not fucking qualified to make movies if they're going to make movies this fucking bad. Everybody has to start somewhere, but you cannot tell me, you cannot objectively tell me that this movie was really that good. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I'm sorry, the more I watched this goddamn slop, I'm like, really? This is, what? This is what we're going with? So yeah, the people band together, basically. They're going to get to the school and they're going to stop this whole damn thing. And they're going to, and because Laura does some kind of hacking thing, she can break into the, computer. Well, Eli's parents are there. Other people are there. They're trying to save, these people. They're trying to save everybody from being assimilated. And a little bit earlier, they met Fred Durst. Fred Durst had just happened to be in this video store and talked about the before times and then quoted break stuff and all that. And then they broke stuff because it's funny. Except it's not earned. And then they end up going to that school. Fred Durst ends up doing a pseudo-acoustic version of Faith while Lachlan Watson plays the goddamn guitar. And they're trying to basically get people to do this movement and stop these machines that really are just standing there. They're pretty easy to take down. Oh yes, and a little bit earlier, Eli saw his own computer and thought he could get through to it, but then that computer turned sour even after it tried to fool him by showing pictures of him and Danny. Because it's so sensitive. The friendship wasn't even earned. None of these characters are any fucking good. Like, they're not even worth, rooting against. Again, how very dare you, A24? So, they end up basically getting into this room where they're going to break into this interface because nobody thought to put guards there because the robot things are just standing around. So, almost everybody's getting assimilated. The Lawnmower Man Singularity thing shows up, congratulations, enjoy the digital realm. And I know it's supposed to be made for laughs, but it's not funny. It's not fucking funny. So, basically, Laura can't get through. She can't get through there because she's getting shocked. Well, then Eli has the condom, puts the condom over her hand, and she can shove that thing right in there and make it work, and then everything gets shut down. And everything's fine. And then 5 years later, they're visiting Danny's grave, and everything's fine with technology. Except no, Lawnmower Man fucking idiot here is in the goddamn little iPod deal. They're implying a sequel. How very dare you, A24? What the fuck? This wasn't even fun in a stupid way. It was just really monumentally stupid. This gets a fucking F. This is one of the worst things of the year. And Jesus, God damn it. And I don't even mean to put, I wouldn't even put it on a horror list. Because it's much more comedy than horror, but the comedy misfires and the horror misfires. So yeah, it gets a fucking F. It's fucking terrible. It might be one of the worst movies of the year. I don't know. I've seen over 300 movies this year. I don't know if this is going to crack the list, and that's saying something. So anyway, agree, disagree with what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd handles in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.